fighting up here don't really mean shit to me unless you're gonna fight me here now.
I don't think that Jake would have enough time, seeing as he's already undersized. He's not a real heavyweight, and this is Anthony Joshua we're talking about.
Take a punch, really. If he takes a big punch from Jake Paul, if he gets hurt in any way by Jake Paul, if he doesn't absolutely ice Jake Paul within a few rounds of this 8-round scheduled bout, well then it really affects his credibility.
No, this shit don't matter, like, people we're gonna fight now.
The heated press conference was only the beginning of the conversation surrounding Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua. Experts weighed in analyzing the risks and implications of the fight. Legendary trainer Barry McQuiggan offered particularly strong criticism, highlighting the genuine fear that many experienced boxers would feel facing someone like Jake Paul. Having spent decades around elite heavy hitters, McQuiggan emphasizes that the first clean punch can completely change the dynamics of a fight, showing just how dangerous the matchup could become.
Some people are saying, you know, AJ's grabbing the bag. There's nothing wrong with that, because anybody else, if they got offered that kind of money, they would do it. So, yep. And some people are suggesting he might damage his legacy. Where do you sit with the decision of him taking that fight? And it's a professional 8-round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing, unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him, or he's not going to go flat out. But you know, I've been tossing this up and down in my mind and trying to figure how, and under God, when he had agreed to fight someone like Tank Davis, who is, you know, several divisions below him. That's more like what Jake Paul does. And then he goes from there to fighting Anthony Joshua. I mean, just look at what happened to Francis Ngannou, who's a big, athletic, tough guy and had gone 12 rounds with Tyson Fury and given him a real ding-dong. And then he gets absolutely obliterated in a round and a half against Joshua. That shows you, despite the fact that he's been knocked out since by Daniel Dubois, who could knock out anybody, by the way, in any weight division or in any era of the heavyweight division. He's such a powerful guy, he could knock anybody out if he hits them properly. But you know, it just seems utter madness. And
Wade, host of the Wade Concept podcast, reveals that Jake Paul's secret weapon for the Anthony Joshua fight has been exposed. He explains that Paul has been sparring with multiple heavyweights to replicate Joshua's size, height, and experience. These sessions allowed Jake to practice handling real heavyweight power while sharpening his timing and strategy. By training against opponents who mimic Joshua's attributes, Paul is preparing himself for the unique challenges he will face in the ring.
Anthony Joshua fight, if you're Jake Paul, who hasn't fought someone in the top, realistically, the top 50. I know Tommy Fury is ranked in the top 50, but anyone that is a top 50 fighter, even in your weight class, let alone a top 10, top 5 heavyweight in Anthony Joshua, who was a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. Can you get prepared for a guy like that if you brought in, let's just say, a deity, freaking Zeus, Hercules, whoever, to prepare you? Could you do it? I don't think that Jake would have enough time, seeing as he's already undersized. He's not a real heavyweight, and this is Anthony fucking Joshua we're talking about. But I will say there were rumors going around that Jake was not taking this fight as seriously as he needed to. That Jake was dilly-dallying, flying to go see F1 in Miami after his press conference, and then going to see his girl all the way in the Netherlands if she's trying to qualify for, I think, the Olympics or something else. There was this post from his girlfriend. I don't know if, again, this was in the Netherlands or where it was at, or maybe this is an old picture, but Jake flying around the world when he has a fight in about 4 weeks is probably not the greatest look, and it doesn't seem to make it look like he's taking it as serious as he needs to, locked away in the gyms of Puerto Rico. Now, again, that could have been a different picture. That could have been something else, but that's pretty shocking to see. With that being said, I want to push back on that because I do think Jake is taking this as seriously as he absolutely needs to, because this is not only the toughest fight of his career, it's the most dangerous to the longevity of his career, to his health and well-being. And so to do something like that, you need to bring in the best help possible to get ready. We already heard that Jake Paul was preparing for Anthony Joshua by sparring the guy that Anthony Joshua was about to fight in Cassius Chaney. This gentleman right here, who was 24-3 from B-More, aka the DMV, and apparently is a top 100 heavyweight, even though it doesn't say he's actually a top 100 heavyweight. But that was what he was being marketed as by
Spencer Oliver, a former professional boxer and analyst, approaches the upcoming Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul matchup from a unique perspective. Speaking on a panel of experts, Oliver suggests that this bout carries more than just competitive stakes. It has symbolic significance for the sport itself. He draws a parallel to Muhammad Ali's era, noting that Ali often took unconventional fights that captured public imagination and drew attention beyond regular boxing audiences. According to Oliver, if Joshua agrees to face Jake Paul, he would be stepping into a moment reminiscent of Ali, where entertainment value and spectacle intersect with professional sport. The matchup could potentially bring new viewers to boxing, exposing the sport to audiences who may not follow traditional heavyweight bouts, while also testing Joshua's ability to maintain focus in an atypical scenario. The fight also represents a cultural moment in boxing, bridging the gap between traditional fans and a new digitally engaged audience. Oliver's comparison to Muhammad Ali's unconventional fights illustrates how high-profile bouts can expand viewership and generate global attention. By entering this arena, Joshua is engaging with a broader demographic, including younger fans who may follow Jake Paul primarily through social media platforms. This crossover effect can elevate the sport's visibility, potentially increasing revenue streams and sponsorship opportunities. Analysts suggest that the cultural impact could be as significant as the fight itself, positioning it as a landmark event in the ongoing evolution of professional boxing.
Pops him a few times in the face, walks out of 150 million quid. No one will remember the fact he fought Jake Paul. They'll remember the fact he knocked Klitschko out in Wembley in 2017.
Totally agree with that.
So I'm kind of, whilst I don't like it, and I don't like the way that Jake Paul gravitates to these brilliant athletes and like a moth sucks the life out of them because he gets a benefit of association, because I think they deserve all the association. But he is a and there was opportunity there, wasn't there?
Listen, commercially, of course it works because it'll be huge and there'll be a load of money on the table. And for Anthony Joshua, it's like sort of, you know, he's going to get rewarded very well with no risk, minimal risk, no risk at all. He's going to go in there and he may then put all this stuff to bed with Jake Paul and calling out all these different champions, etc., etc. So, of course it works. And when you're talking about, you know, the credibility that Joshua's going to get, he's not going to get none now, but are people going to remember that? Of course they're not. Like, when he goes on to do what he does, didn't Muhammad Ali have some sort of strange fight in the middle of his career? Didn't he box? Yeah, he did. He boxed some non-boxing guy and whatnot. Like, people don't remember that. That's what I'm saying. Look, us as boxers, we don't remember stuff like that.
It was replicated in Rocky. So, he did a version of Fighting Thunderlips, didn't he? So
Veteran boxing analyst Gareth A. Davies raises serious concerns about the safety implications of this fight. He highlights the considerable weight difference and the disparity in experience between the fighters, suggesting that the matchup stretches the limits of what is safe in a professional ring. Davies emphasizes that a full-scale contest could be dangerous, particularly if Joshua lands clean, decisive punches early in the fight. From his perspective, while the spectacle of a social media personality challenging a seasoned heavyweight is intriguing, the physical risks involved make it a highly questionable endeavor. Experts like Davies caution that regulatory bodies and promoters must carefully evaluate the safety measures in place, as the consequences of a miscalculated bout could be severe for both competitors.
So, as I am with you, there is a danger in this fight. The odds are Joshua's 1-12, obviously. Jake Paul is 6-1. Yeah, to win this fight in a two-horse race in which this is a guy who lost to Tyson Fury's brother, in an 8-round fight, who, for me, I wrote that it would damage his legacy a week ago. It will damage his legacy for several reasons. If the Deontay Wilder fight never emerges, which it looks like it isn't, I've been calling for that fight for ages. If those two got in a ring together, it's still a massive fight. It's a dangerous fight to sanction, in my view. It sets the wrong precedent. It is 10-ounce gloves. It is a boxing match. It's not an exhibition. This isn't a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. This is one of the most dangerous finishers in the world, who is probably 5 levels above Jake Paul and a weight division above him. I think it's irresponsible to let those two in a ring together in a proper boxing match. That's my view. It doesn't damage his bank balance, but if he earns $70 million for this, are we...
Boxing analysts Angelo and Josh provide a technical breakdown of the matchup, assessing both fighters from the standpoint of experience, skill, and natural ability. They assert that Jake Paul, while courageous, is not at the same level as elite heavyweights like Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. Joshua and Wilder are part of an exclusive class of boxers whose timing, precision, and raw power can decisively change the course of a fight in a single moment. Angelo and Josh stress that these qualities are developed through years of rigorous training and natural physical advantage, traits that smaller or less experienced fighters cannot replicate. They note that bravery alone does not equate to skill. And while Paul's confidence is notable, it does not substitute for the depth of preparation and instinct that professional heavyweights bring to the ring.
Don't think that he could compete at the highest level, and I don't think he'd beat the top 5, top 6 guys. But that in that weight class is where he'd be at, like say 180, 188 or 189, somewhere around there is where he'd probably compete. There's not a lot of talent there though, so he might be pretty good in those weight classes. Him competing in the heavyweight division against like Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua or anybody else, no, he gets annihilated. I'm very surprised he signed this fight.
I was shocked he signed this fight. I texted my buddy Bo, because Bo follows boxing really well, and I texted him. I was like, dude, we might see a death. And he said the same thing. He's like, I cannot believe he agreed to that fight. But the numbers, the numbers that are, nobody knows the true payouts. They're saying it's around $200 million that they're splitting evenly. So they're getting about $100 million each. He said that it was $267 million. So I don't know who you believe or don't believe, or it could be they're splitting 200 and the 67 delta, they had to pay DAZN because Anthony Joshua has a contract with DAZN. And this fight's going to be on Netflix. DAZN.
It's DAZN.
So they, which makes, how the hell?
Please stop saying DAZN, okay?
DAZN.
That's like Saint Benoit, okay?
Where's the O in DAZN?
It's DAZN.
Well, there's no O or no E at the end either. But so they basically had to buy Anthony Joshua his permission to do this.
Henry, a boxing analyst, argues that the risks in this fight are not one-sided. While much of the discourse focuses on the danger Jake Paul faces stepping into a ring with a seasoned champion, the analysts stress that Anthony Joshua is not immune to risk. Even a minor lapse in performance or judgment could create an opening for Paul, potentially affecting Joshua's reputation despite a likely victory. They emphasize that for a fighter of Joshua's standing, any outcome that does not result in a flawless win could be perceived as damaging rather than affirming. The analysis underscores that the fight is far from a guaranteed showcase for the champion, and that both participants carry substantial stakes in terms of reputation, public perception, and professional legacy.
The reason this creates immense risk for Joshua is because even if Joshua wins this fight, it has to be perfect. There cannot be a moment of hesitation from Anthony Joshua. He can't look mentally shot. He can't take a punch, really. If he takes a big punch from Jake Paul, if he gets hurt in any way by Jake Paul, if he doesn't absolutely ice Jake Paul within a few rounds of this 8-round scheduled bout, well then it really affects his credibility. All the things that have ever been said about him, he's a hype job, he's been coddled. He didn't really want to fight Deontay Wilder when they were both in their prime. He's just a big bodybuilder, as Tyson Fury loves to put it. Anyone who's ever doubted him will have absolute ability to do so. And so the fact that this is actually a sanctioned fight, it tells me that Anthony Joshua cannot be going in there or will not go in there and try to carry Jake Paul. Otherwise, it might as well just be an exhibition. If he does go in there and carry Jake Paul, my fear for him is that most people will not be aware that that's what he's doing. Reputationally, it would just cause serious damage. And like I say, I think the only way he comes out of this unscathed, reputationally, is by going in there and securing a clean knockout. Anthony Joshua can't do anything to boost how people view him as a boxer in this fight. All it can do is damage him unless he's punch perfect. He's fighting someone who realistically has nothing to lose and absolutely everything to gain. And that in itself can be dangerous. It can be risky. And given that Jake Paul has achieved so little, given that Anthony Joshua wants to remain relevant and credible, so it seems, because he has a couple of potentially big fights left, especially against Tyson Fury, why is he doing this? He doesn't want to jeopardize that, surely. Well, I can tell you exactly how I think he has rationalized this in his mind. The first thing is that he's going to get paid an absolute shed load of money. Around 50 million is what we're hearing. I've heard 50 million pounds, 50 million USD, but whatever happens, it's a significant amount of cash. Possibly will be one of his highest ever career paydays, possibly similar to what he'd make for a Tyson Fury fight. But for what? Like 1% of the risk? I don't know. I don't know how to put it in numerical.
Former world champion David Haye brings attention to the inherent unpredictability of boxing. He warns that despite Joshua being heavily favored, the outcome of any fight is never guaranteed once the first bell rings. Haye emphasizes that underestimating an opponent, regardless of their background or prior experience, can lead to unexpected results. While acknowledging that Jake Paul faces a significant challenge, Haye stresses that professional fighters must always respect the capabilities of anyone entering the ring. The unpredictability factor adds tension to the bout, ensuring that both the audience and the fighters themselves remain fully engaged and cautious throughout the contest.
Reported yesterday by the ring by Mike Coppinger that one's in the works and looking likely for December. What can you tell?
Yeah, not yet. I mean, there has been conversations, obviously. I think it comes down to how true, they are. Jake Paul is that he actually wants to fight. I mean, he's a madman if he wants to fight. But for some reason, and he thinks he can beat AJ. And I have to be honest, we were going to have a run out in December over 8 rounds against a bloke you've never heard of. And we may end up having a run out against Jake Paul for a career high payday. I don't see how we can turn it down.
When I asked you about it a couple of days ago, you said that at that time you never really got into the financials. Have those been discussed now? Have you discussed the financial element?
Yeah, there has been some conversations around that, and it is, it's a huge amount of money. And I think AJ would be mad if he didn't do it, and I think he will do it if Jake Paul is genuine. We may wake up tomorrow with these people and they've announced another fight. Honestly, anything could happen. So I still can't get my head around the fact that this guy wants to challenge AJ. There's some respect to him if it's true, but we shall see.
To end on that note, I spoke to Alfie Sharman earlier. He said that himself with DAZN have had no conversations about AJ potentially taking that fight. Obviously, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. What's the situation with regards to that? Because I know
apparently the fight's done. Obviously, it's not done because those conversations have to take place. I'm very confident that I can have some positive conversations with DAZN. Obviously, we'll be on a clock, but it's a 50-50.
Last one from me. I saw Chris McKenna tweeted that Anthony Joshua currently doesn't have a British Boxing Board of Control licence. Obviously, it's not unusual for someone who isn't fighting currently and he's inactive to let it run out. But he would have to apply for one to face Jake Paul again, and then they'd have to approve a fight. Do you think that'd be a...
Tensions erupted at press conference when Anthony Joshua confronted Jake Paul following perceived disrespect. The heavyweight champion reacted angrily, expressing his frustration over Paul's comments and behavior.
It was only a couple of months ago that we were told it was really close, and then it was Jake and Tank, and now that's off for other reasons. Your initial reaction to the fact that December Miami might be on?
Yeah, jumping from Gervonta Davis all the way up to Anthony Joshua seems absurd. It doesn't seem like it's a reality.
Seems very Jake Paul.
It seems, but sometimes these crazy things. Who would have ever thought Francis Ngannou would get a shot against Tyson Fury? When we first started talking about it, it's like, that's never going to happen. And when it did, we saw Tyson Fury have a very, very tough night, get knocked down and scrape through on points. Anything's possible in boxing. I think the chances of Jake Paul beating Anthony Joshua, I don't know, he's got a very, very low chance. I can't see any way that Jake Paul can win a boxing match with 10, 12-ounce gloves on with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, world champion, silver medalist, Olympic gold medalist, 2-time heavyweight champion. He's a top 10, top 5 in some people's arguments, heavyweight, and he hasn't gone that far over the hill. He's not Mike Tyson, nearly 60 years old. I can't see it happening, but if it can happen and AJ wants it, then obviously it's going to be a massive, massive payday as well as a massive spectacle. It would be an absolute crush box office numbers, and unfortunately for Jake, that will be potentially his last fight in boxing.